the most of his booty and best fighting men to send his children to school, OLUNLOYO, and we pride ourselves. We have had one section of the family which has distinguished itself in schooling. The first person to go to school in Ibadan was a woman.
Wow.
And that's Yejide Girls Grammar School. Is named after her.
Wow.
Second, Dele, OLUNLOYO. There are many Akeles in it. Akele OLUNLOYO. Their first night is in the missionary house was very momentous. Usually men eat black people in the night, and I can't stay. And so was the story. Is best you can see it in Venerable Dickens' late Banjo. You know, he wrote it in Yoruba. And also, there was an episode.
The internet. Okay.
Two of his children. For them, he sent two of his slaves. So they asked for the relate that they were his slaves. No. They said what they want to teach him, what they want to do is to enhance their education and their knowledge. So he asked, well, what does that mean, education knowledge? So they asked him to bring, they took OLUNLOYO and somebody from Abeokuta and a European. They took them into a room, asked OLUNLOYO to tell that European his mother's name. So OLUNLOYO said his mother's name is Abel. Oh, this. And the European wrote down Abel on a sheet of paper. European to be locked in. And they brought another man, and another man who was not in the room with them, outside the church, and gave him the paper. And they requested that OLUNLOYO should ask the man that OLUNLOYO should, but you are not with us in the room. You are not with us in the room. Information about what was going on there in the room. Somebody who was not in the room with us. This is magic. I would like my children to know how to operate this magic. So he changed his name to his children. That's how his children began to go to school. And we have had many illustrious people. We were the first to graduate. I was what can I say, the flag bearer in
I didn't hear that, Daddy. In primary school, you did what in primary school, sir?
I came first in all the schools in Standard 4 in Ibadan province, from St. Peter's Arima. And in 46, in 47, I was in Maga. I also came first in the whole of, and very well, and and the church and all the people in Baga at that time. So I came first too. I got into government college from Baga.
The internet take us back to your getting into government college, Ibadan. This internet. And Daddy got the best internet in Ibadan, 4G. Yeah, Daddy, yeah, how you entered government college, Ibadan.
When I came from Baga, straight in government college, I lagged behind the standard 6 boys. I was 21st out of 20.
Yes. What happened, Daddy? Did you overplay?
No. What happened was that I hadn't covered the syllabus for standard 6.
Oh, okay. You came in from standard 5.
I came in from standard 5. But the next exam, conducted by JBO Ojo, my classmates always marvel. I went from 21st out of 23 to the enviable position of first.
Wow. From way behind.
Yes, from 21st to first. And Ojo wrote, "This boy has great potentiality." We had a very good time in government college, grade 1 school certificate, entrance to University College, Ibadan. We were very lucky. The year we entered the University College at Abadina was ready. We were the first occupants. Great woman in OLUNLOYO family. I left the university and went to the University of St. Andrews. I got a scholarship. I was to HSC. I did it in 3 months. Anniversary biography. Then my brother, Shegun, was in Form 4 then. He decided he was taken into Harvard, MIT, Denver, Colorado, and McGill.
Wow.
Shegun was an NNOM. I decided in government college. In government college, I decided to specialize and to be known and to be famous. Government college was built on 2 principles: academics, and I was the opening bowler for the school. And
wow,
I was the opening bowler, and Awushka was the captain. We beat virtually all schools in that we played. Incidentally, Anyaoko will come from the ambassador,
Chief Emeka Anyaoko.
Emeka Anyaoko will come from Umahia. We meet in Warri, in Ugeli, and then we play. It was our contemporary. Then we had a cousin, Abodeni, who was in Yale. We had had several in government college. The center forward, 20 goals in 17 matches.
Wow.
We were running at par, and then also we worked all the problems in Durell, arithmetic, Durell, algebra, Durell, geometry, Durell, trigonometry. And there was one question which neither any senior or junior could work. It was no junior boy solved that one day, and we saw a billiard table. When we returned, it took 4 of us. When we returned to government college, the first thing I did was to solve the billiard ball problem. And the boys gave me the nickname Archimedes. Those were the things we beat us in 1946. We drew in 46, 49, 50, 51, and then our last year, 52. We did nothing but play cricket. And then we revenge. We beat them home and away. Gobi home and away. Lagos Grammar School home and away. And we set a record for future generations. I did something that is memorable in government college, and I asked Awushika to let us prepare for future victories. And when I went around all the houses, I found a very talented boy, Chris Enahoro. He was so good. He was in Form 1. I asked Awushika into first 11. Eventually, he became the school captain and the Nigerian captain.
Wow.
So was Dr. I've forgotten, Dr. What do you call his name now? I've forgotten his name. They continued our victories for about 3, 4, 5 years. So those were the things we enacted. A lot of heroism, and we were very, very grateful to Wale Babalakin, the president. Dr. Wale Babalakin, who went to Cambridge, he has revived the field and is in the shape we left it. But the field had been destroyed. But Wale, we were very happy last year when Wale, in the University of St. Andrews, the record which I laid, I was told 3 years ago, remains unbeaten. The record remains unbeaten. They had several exams where we could do all questions. There was an exam in which I got 132 over 100.
132 over 100. How is that possible, sir?
Yes, I did all the questions. And then there were 6 medals. I got 5 of the medals, gold medals.
Wow.
They said we were demoralizing the boys. First of all, they wanted me to start in. It's a 4-year course. I told them that my standard was higher than a 4-year. So they laughed at me, and they said they could not agree for anybody to begin in 2nd year. So I went to the professor of electrical engineering, who was who Cambridge GSE. I went to him. I said, I want to exam. They should give me an exam in 7 days. Give me 7 days and see here. They gave me the exam. In 7 days, physics, I got 84%. Chemistry, 88%. And mathematics, which was the denouement, as the French would say. In the mathematics, I got 98.
Wow.
So I asked the professor a very funny question. I said, how could somebody get 98? Where are the remaining 2 marks? He said, where are the remaining 2 marks? How could one get 98? So that was 270 over 300. So at the end of that session, they took me to the Senate. Professor Colway took me to the Senate to introduce me. Because some people might have just joined the staff, he says he has a visitor he wants to introduce to the Senate. Did they remember the African man who said he would like to start from 2nd year? He said he has brought him. Not only did he start in 2nd year, but he was first. And therefore, he brought him that the Senate should be grateful that he has made their system flexible like in Cambridge. If you say you want, there was Ramanujan who had no certificate from southern India.
Wow.
And he knew more mathematics than some of the lecturers. He had no degree. The professor, Adi, went to the hospital because this Indian man he sent his manuscript to London and they thought it was nonsense. So they sent the thing back to him. He sent the same manuscripts to Cambridge and they said it was miraculous.
Wow.
So but you have to have a degree of some sort. They wanted to, they then invited Ramanujan to make him a fellow. So they gave him an honorary PhD.
Wow.
Now, when the Professor Hadi visited Ramanujan in the hospital, he had tuberculosis. The professor was complaining that he had come in a taxi with a dull number. The number of the taxi was dull. So the Ramanujan said, what is the number? The professor said, 1729. It's not a dull number. It's a very interesting number. 1729 is the sum of 2 cubes in 2 different ways, and is the smallest such number. 1729 is 1,000 plus 729. 1,000 is 10 cubed. 729 is 9 cubed. 9 times 9 times 9. 9 times 9 is 81 times another 9. That is 729. And 10 times 10 times 10 is... Then he said, moreover, 12 cubed is 12 times 12 times 12 cubed is 12 times 12 times 1729, 1728. And 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1. 1728 plus 1 is equal to 10 cubed plus 9 cubed. And there's no smaller number. So they said, well, then left about 500 problems. He died young. Some of Ramanujan's problems have not been solved.
Till today.
So
Wow.
till today, some of them have not been solved. And so that is it. There are some people who, one of my sons, I've just come out of, he should be walking down the street. He has got, Ayobami has become, he's passed, and he came second in MBA down in College, Cambridge.
Wow.
And so it has always been his ambition. And so the OLUNLOYO family is rich with a particular section of it. Our father was regarded as the brightest man in this town, Ibadan. Adedibu, Adilabu, Adegoke Adilabu,
Penkelemes
was misrepresented in Chuntokun's book on Akintola. Adilabu got double promotion, as you will see in Biobakus, when we were young. He was Saburi, Professor Saburi Biobaku said on page 58 of his book that Adelabu was 1 year senior to them and that he was the brightest boy government college had produced or is likely ever to produce.
Wow.
That Adelabu was the brightest boy government college Ibadan had produced or is likely ever to produce.
Wow.
So you cannot say a person like that is just eating amala by the roadside. When he contested the election, they had an election in Ibadan, 46 wards, 2 seats, 2 seats, 2 seats, 42 seats, 2 seats were independent, and 2 seats were action group. So I would all then question them. I would all very much wanted Adilabu to be in the action group. But actually he kept saying that he was an ignorant man and so on. So Adilabu said, I would all said, how can a man be ignorant and get 44 seats and you people get only 42 seats? And then at the next federal election, the minister, Akinloye was defeated by Lekan Salam. So that's the OLUNLOYO family had always been.
Yes. Can you speak about Horatio, Daddy?
Yeah, Horatio is the name of my father.
I see.
And one thing about Horatio was that he died very early. He died at 42. I'm now 85, but Horatio was regarded as the brightest man in the town, as I said, and he was, by letter which Chief Awolowo wrote me during the 12 Truths thing. Horatio was the first person to pass the London Matric, which was regarded as highly regarded at the time. Oyechina, that's Ibika, were also forerunners. But Horatio, and then Chief Awolowo said Horatio taught him Latin, that he felt that he must have been a Roman in a previous life, that he taught him Latin, which was, but I knew who was teaching Horatio. It was Justice Jibo in Lagos who was teaching Horatio. Then Horatio would teach other people. That's how it, and he built the first house on the Okeado Road, where we are having this interview now. I only put a garden around the house.
I can see you've maintained the garden very well, Daddy. Well, I posted the picture yesterday.
You can thank me, you can thank Benga and all these people.
All the governor, all your children are watching you, Daddy. They are all watching. Kemi is there, Benga is there, Ayobami is there. Everybody's watching right now.
But Kapo is the phenomenon. He's like Ramanujan. He knows the computer inside out, hardware, software. Although he's open at a book, I've told him he must write a book on computers.
Wow.
You don't need to go to university, and he played most of his time in the university, but the computer was in him. The computer was in him. It's about computers, both software and hardware. He worked in various banks, various transport systems in England. I remember 7-7. I remember him on 7-7 that some of the work he did on the London transport saved several lives. You know, Ayobami was in 7-7. He was in one of those trains, and he came out with the Anini sisters. Son. Ayobami decided to take a walk. The two of them came out of the underground. The unfortunate boy then took a bus. There was another bomb in the bus. So that's why people talk of fate.
And I must tell you this, Daddy. When I arrived exile in 1995, I lived with your son, Benga, for months, and his wife, Ayo, and they took very good care of us in London. They made London so easy. The day I landed, even from Ghana, when I escaped from Nigeria, right from Ghana, Benga was busy coordinating his friends. They gathered money before they later moved to Beckton. And I must say this publicly, that I'm very, very grateful to the family. Daddy.
Yes.
And
the quiet man.
Very quiet, smooth operator. Is a smooth operator. Yes, you must be very, very proud of your family, and we're all very proud of the entire family. I would like, one of the things I heard about you is that you started life very early as an administrator and all that. Could you take us down memory lane?
Yes, I became a commissioner at 27.
Wow.
Commissioner for Economic Planning and Community Development with special responsibility for the census of 1962. Some of the memos we wrote, and I had a fantastic permanent secretary. That was Chief Dele, who ought to have become the head of service after Chief Adebo, if not for some intrigues and so on. They lied against him. The real problem we had was the census. After we did the census, the actual figure we got was astonishing. We got 14 million in the north also, and we got 70 million in the south. We were not surprised because the 1931 census was doctored by the colonial powers. And in any case, the density of population decreases as you approach the that was the outcome. But I praised Smart J. Kodumi for something, which I also praised General Adebayo, who gave me one of the most difficult problems to solve. The Alaafin of Oyo vacancy to fill. Not one day did Maje Kodumi tell me what to do about that census. Not one day did Major General Adebayo tell me what to do about the Alaafin. I was not interfered with. I was not asked any question. Nobody asked me any question until I arrived at the problem. I was surprised with the action group. The only person who had the political acumen, apart from Bishop Nabanjo, who thought the census was important, the only person who thought the census was important was Shonibare. Shonibare, S.O. Shonibare, Samuel Olatunbosun Shonibare.
Wow.
1920 to 1964. He asked me about the census. So I told him what I had to tell him. Today, if you want to see the figures, I gave the figures and all the workings. I gave them to somebody who ought to have used it, and that is Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And he put it in his last case. Anybody can go there and read it. That is what I also gave him a solution to the 12 2/3 problem. I saw the his son-in-law, what's his name now? Oyediran.
Professor Kayode Oyediran.
Yes, I saw them when I was in science and technology, NSTD. They were roaming around, they were pushing them down. So from the third floor, I asked them to call them up. What do you want? Come for the answer. They wanted a grant for. They wanted a grant for a conference and so on. So I called the staff. I said, these two people have come on account of this. What are the conditions under which you give them grants? So they stated the conditions. Have they met the conditions, or is there a deficit? They said they have met the conditions, but there is no fund. I said, you see, the lady is the daughter of the man who gave us scholarships to go to Britain to study engineering, mathematics. I got 2 scholarships. One for engineering, one for mathematics, and I used both. So if they have fulfilled all the conditions, the thing, if you have any objection, by virtue of what, and whereas I am the head here, and whereas they have confirmed, you have confirmed what you told me, the approval is given with immediate effect. You collect your check tomorrow. So I told you, the woman you married has saved you. You married the right woman. He has saved you here. So he didn't say he couldn't believe that it will be out. I said, go behind that woman. Don't go in front of her. That was during that thing, they called 2 of us, the 12 truthers, but you may not want to hear what transpired.
I wanted us to go back a bit because you are probably the last encyclopedia on a lot of stories about Nigeria. The post-independent Nigeria, I would want you to speak about your interpretation of the roles of, for example, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the Owele of Onitsha, Chief Nnamdi Azikiwe, Oba Adesoji Aderemi, how he became the first governor. That will make an interesting story.
Yes. In the last few months, some of us in the university, it is very interesting that we formed an action group club in the university. You know whom we chose, who formed the club actually, and went from room to room, and who we chose unanimously as president? It was Ambrose Ali.
Wow, Professor.
Yes, I published the picture in the Tribune. He was the one who formed the action group, students club. The vice president was Muyiwa Awe, the great physicist. Bolanle Awe's
okay. Professor Soyinka's friend and co-pilot at the time.
Yes,
we will come back to them, sir. We will come back to them.
Yes, we were all there. Oloyede Awoshika and I, the first, we will still come back to them.
We'll come back, sir. Yes, sir.
Emiola Adesina, who had just died, was there. or Shisanya, the brother of the first wife of Shubome Balogun, who are the members. Eugene Odunjo, Banjo Shularu.
Wow.
We were action group. What made some of us break is the way the action group was run as a one-man show. We felt when the action group had a crisis, Akintola asked for one of two things, and he was denied both. He asked that they have to be dissolved and a new election be run. He was denied a meeting of the House. He was denied a meeting of the House, and he was denied a new election. He wanted what do you call this thing? Test of popularity.
Okay, the short run election.
No, not short run election. The
opinion poll.
No, in the House, when you vote in the House, whether the Prime Minister, whether he enjoys a majority. You know that whether the Prime Minister still enjoys or if you dissolve the House and you have a new election.
Yes, sir.
He was denied both. And we felt that was wrong, and some of us went to Akintola's side. Both of them played money politics. Awolowo had an exercise book in his house. You sign that you don't want Akintola and you collect a bag of money. Akintola had an exercise book in his house. You sign, you want Akintola to stay, and you collect a bag of money. And I remember one day, Akintola asked Ogundiran, ǹjọ́ ní lọ wádìí ibi tí nọ́mbà wọn dé lọ́hùn-ún. Ó ti gbowó lọ́sọ̀hún kọ́ ọmọ ibi tí nọ́mbà wọn dé. So they were playing that type of politics. So that was how we started. And but in the last 6 months, in his first book, Path to Nigerian Freedom, about the relationship of the British and the Fulanis, he was right. We found that we was right and we were wrong. We were foolish. We did not understand the depth of his experience. Many people don't know that Balewa was not a Fulani. They did not know that he was not even a Hausa.
Where did he come from, sir?
He comes from somewhere in Bauchi. He's in his biography. Gawan was an Angas. succeeded in ruling for 9 years to the date. But you will find Fulanis was established.
Yes. They are from that story.
That's a long story. It's another story. Ifulani town, not Yoruba. Not a Yoruba town any longer. I would also saw that thing as early as 46, 47. And from the events going on now, in the last 3 months, in the last 6 months, one cannot gainsay anything Awolowo wrote.
Path to Nigerian freedom.
Path to Nigerian freedom.
Did you read Travels of Democracy?
Of course. One day, I wanted to educate Tribune. I went to the Tribune office. Came to me and said, if he goes there, I said, I will take him there. I took him to Tribune. They said, this man, 12 tutors.
Mr. 12 2/3.
Look at it. Nobody harmed him. So, I went to Tribune Library. I found that they did not have many of Awolowo's books.
Wow.
And the lectures. You know, Path to Nigerian Freedom is the first one.
Yes, sir.
And you know, the day he wanted to launch the last one was the day he was buried. Then he gave a number of lectures in Ahmadu Bello of Ibadan. All those lectures. And then some of the pictures when he was being sworn in, exactly at 1 o'clock on the 6th of February 1952. And the clock, the long hand pointed to 12 and the short hand to 1. And the photographic trick which that man used is that he must have snapped 10, 20 times before and then chose the one where the 1 o'clock sharp. He chose that one to print. Many of the things so they had only 1 or 2 books of it. So I told Wally to go and get that they should go and get all the books. And I furnished their room, their chairman's room with all those photographs. Just as I gave you about 60 or something photographs when you are going to write your ouvre special, the Akintola
hero of villain.
And
yes.
Louis Obi was your boss.
Yes, he was my editor at Concord. Yes. You still remember Louis Obi? Oh my God, that is brave.
And wow. You know, that work of yours was the first sellout.
Total.
All the copies you printed,
and that was the beginning of rehabilitating the Akintola name.
Nice.
I said it was the beginning of rehabilitating the Akintola name, and the university in Ife agreed to now give them Akintola Hall in Sports Center. No, you worked very hard, Daddy. You worked hard.
The Akintola, the college at
Ogbomoso.
So, and that was the beginning of your meteoric rise too.
No, I used to come and sit down with you and eat ugwo. I remember the delicacy, our ugwo. We will still talk about food and your red wines and your red wines. Now, I wanted us to do something because I'm sure this is going to...
You know, that thing you said, everything he wrote in the book, look, you remember the Majoripaham, who said some of the things Awolowo wrote were controversial or not accurate. And Awolowo insisted that she must not alter anything he has written. And Majoripaham says he too must not alter anything she had written. And she agreed. But today, it seems that Awolowo was right. So,
I wanted us to take, I've written down names of different personalities, dramatic personnel at different times in the history of Nigeria. I wanted you to speak briefly about Pa Anthony Enahoro.
Anthony Enahoro, you remember Anthony Enahoro attended King's College, Lagos, and he was a rebel. Because of Anthony Enahoro, they rusticated his class. You know that story?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, I heard the story.
Oh, yes. And he was Awolowo's Minister of Home Affairs. And he wrote the paper for television and for news. Michael Adekunle Ajasin wrote the paper for education. Whilst Enahoro wrote the one for the television, which I will never forget, is that there are too many states. And if they want to make nonsense of themselves and of Nigeria, they should create 60 states or 100 states. There are too many states.
And they are not viable.
They are not viable. And there's nothing like First Lady in any constitution. The only two people who have spoken about this First Lady are Soyinka, who is not a practicing politician, but who is free to say what is in his mind, and my friend's brother, Chief Akande. Akande is the only one who has honestly stuck to the view that there's nothing called First Lady.
Which of the Akandes are that?
I don't know if it's true, but this Akande is the only one who has not been carrying his First Lady around. There are some First Ladies who even override the governor, or who are some are in were in Yoruba land, who almost took over materially the governorship. There are some at the federal who almost took up the presidency. I remember one who wanted to have 4 daughters to marry governors. And people did not enjoy the presidency because the man was very ill, but he was a rebel. So there has been a lot of nonsense going on in this country. Absolute nonsense.
Before we get to the country, sir, Western region.
The problem in the old Western region was that Akintola was interested in pragmatic politics. That is, he wanted that the politics is not ideological. But Awolowo believed in actual ideological politics. Awolowo believed that, let's take the question of opposition. Awolowo believed that you should be an opposition for a government to be alert. The opposition he had at Ibadan was a very alert opposition. Can you imagine Okotie-Eboh, Zik, Adilabu, all opposing the government? They were very astute. T.O.S. Benson.
Adeniro Ogunsonya.
Adeleke Adeniro Ogunsonya. And that a government will be on its toes. Sardauna, whose party ruled Nigeria literally, did not leave Kaduna. He sent his second in command, but Awolowo was not pragmatic like that. He believed, you know, Sir Jim Callahan said Awolowo will make a good Prime Minister of England. Sonny Jim Callahan. But Awolowo will make a good Prime Minister of England.
Open. That's the soundbite, Daddy. That's the powerful one. You must know how to leave the vaults open.
Yes, Awolowo will insist they do daily check. That those 2 extra hours that the commercial banks do, he will not allow them to balance their books.
Wow.
And if you read Path to Nigerian Freedom carefully, president of the Academy of Sciences, we have read that book several times. And there's another book by Marjorie Parham, A Journey Through Nigeria, 31, 32, 33, where we got to know that 24,000 pounds sterling was used to build Mako.
24,000 pounds.
Pounds sterling, yes. And Agbaje had in the bank, Agbaje had 250,000 pounds in the bank.
Wow.
And he produced the first doctor from Glasgow. He produced the first lawyer, Majid. He produced the first engineer and the first accountant.
Wow.
So If you read Path to Nigerian Freedom, you will see that Awolowo had an initial. There is a passage that says that the British the British sat on Nigerians and the Fulanis sat on the Hausas. They don't, and that the day will not be far when the Hausas will distinguish what is ordained by Allah from what is ordained by man.
Powerful.
Very powerful.
Powerful.
He says they are the most heavily taxed, and they have never sit tightly on the Hausas. And there are two kinds of Fulanis, the cattle Fulanis, and that reminds you, and should, what do you call it? Nomadic education. And again,
Professor Jibril Aminu.
Yes, brilliant man, trained in Ibadan here, in the University College Hospital, and which was at that time the 6th best hospital in the Commonwealth.
Wow, UCH Ibadan.
UCH Ibadan was the 6th best hospital. And it a few years ago, it was its 65th. Position 65.
If not worse now.
If not worse now. Whereas in Ghana, Kolebu, has maintained its
status.
Yes. I was external examiner in Legon for a number of years.
In Ghana?
Started in
I said University of Ghana, Legon.
Legon. And when I was commissioner for education, which I was for 3.5 years, and twice, I used to take some of my staff to see what Cape Coast was like. Addis Adel, Fasimpin, one.
In fact, Daddy, you know Ghana more than me. I live in Ghana. I don't know some of these places.
And then eventually the University of Cape Coast.
Cape Coast, I know that one, yes.
Of education. The best secondary schools in West Africa are in Cape Coast. You know what happened? Abdulaziz Atta, who was secretary to the government, when he left this place, he went to Agri, from there to Oxford. And he traveled the same year with Awolowo, whom he became permanent secretary to, and Taslim Elias, one of the brightest men he has ever produced.
That's the Chief Justice.
Chief Justice who was retired, but later himself there. So
we're talking about Akintola.
Akintola his wife was more fierce than he was. I remember crouching under his step one day. She was armed and ready for any eventuality. And she would always say, tí wọn bá pa ọ́, pa wọ́n, pa àwọn tó yẹ kó pa tó bá pa wọ́n, pa ọ́. And Akintola would say, láàárọ̀ pípa. Bọ́n bá pa gbogbo èèyàn tán, tó ló máa ṣèjọba lé lórí. Láàárọ̀ ó ní wọn lọ́sàn-án kí wọ́n pa wọ́n, lálẹ́ wọn kọ́ wọn pa wọ́n. Nígbà wọn bá pa gbogbo èèyàn tán, ìjọba kí ló wá lórí ta ló wà máa ṣèjọba.
Daddy, are you able to tell us the story of how Akintola was killed? Because you once told me it was one of my bestsellers at Concord newspapers.
Yes, there is a man who called Professor Akintola. He is a geographer. He was in the house, in the residence. Professor Akintola is an expert on geography. He is economic. No. His specialization, and he was in the house with Yomi and 2 other children. And there's an office. The people sent to kill Akintola were from Abeokuta. They did not know his residence. They did not do their recce very well. They didn't do any recognizing. They didn't do any. The next door to the governor's house. Dele, father and son, was the governor. And the third will be the house of the premier. It's back. So they came to, they went straight past SLA at Yaganko and went to Agodi and captured Fanikade, but they found no marks on his face. They found no marks on his face. So they started arguing that this is not the man they want. This man has no mark. And that he must tell them, take them to wherever Fanikade is.
Where Akintola was.
Where Akintola was. Fanikade married Auntie Adia from Ghana. Femi's mother is from Ghana.
Oh, wow. I see the link now to Ghana. Wow.
Yes. You see the link. So Auntie Adia was from Ghana. Femi's mother is from Ghana. So they drove him to, so he took them to Yagan. Auntie Adia, some policemen or soldiers have come and taken her husband away. So Akintola had time to prepare. Apparently, he dug a hole bigger than the muzzle of one of the guns he was using. By digging a hole bigger than the muzzle, the gun has, and he felled 8 of them At about 2 o'clock, he fell about eight of them.
Wow. He was shooting.
He was shooting. He shot about 8 of them dead.
Wow.
He sent the boys to the office. Yomi was there.
Wow.
So the men retreated and went for reinforcement. And then Akintola had a chance to escape, but he did not. He had a chance to escape. He will go past the tennis court to quarter 421, which is Magara, where they sell fruits and so on, and became a school board. That was Adegbe Rose quarters. Quarter 421.
Alhaji Dauda.
Alhaji Dauda, Adegbe Rose. So you could have taken that route and just vanished, but his children will be left. Early that day, that there will be a coup.
Intelligence
from Dahomey.
From Dahomey, not even from Nigeria.
Chitu Olokoyan had heard.
Wow.
From Kajola. Chitu Olokoyan was living next door to Koladaisi in Lagos. And he controlled Kajola. And he had heard in Dahomey. And we had passed to Akintola. And Akintola and Lekan Salami went to Sadana. Sadana's judgment was that everybody should stay where he is.
Kai.
Again, their own religion.
Fatalism.
What must be, must be.
Must be.
The GOC for Ibadan, my mother, he was, and Lagema, they were in the and shot.
And killed, yeah.
Yes, and they were killed there. Even though they were from Ibadan. The British had informed Balewa, who had informed, had a boat with about fantastic weapons. They will quell the riot in 1 or 2 hours. Just you know the just beyond the horizon. Balewa, they didn't see early. And like number 10, number 11, the Minister of Finance was next door to the Prime Minister.
Okotiebo.
Then in the morning was doing his early morning prayer. When they saw him doing his alwala and threw him at the back of, and took him to Agege, put his back against the kola nut tree and put a kola nut in his mouth and all that. So, they came back at 4 o'clock, broke the door and shot Akintola dead, and dragged his body on the lawn, left-hand side as we go in.
Where was Mrs. Fadera?
Mrs. Fadera told Akintola that she was going to Igbajo, her hometown. That since they have heard that there will be a coup, she is not going to allow herself to be slaughtered. she convinced Akintola to leave the.
He said no.
She refused to stay there.
Wow.
She went to
Igbajo. Fantastic. Okay, maybe we'll move because of time.
There is something else about about when in the morning I heard that there had been a actual coup which we were expecting. I drove from the University of Ibadan to the Premier's house. It didn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes. The town is not so long, it's not so big. I drove from the University of Ibadan to the Premier's Lodge at the Yaganku. And I met a man at the door. He was in a Peugeot, blue Peugeot, Osande.
Wow.
He was a model policeman. We thought he would become Inspector General. In Ibadan, we always thought he would become, you know Parry?
Oh, very, very well.
We met Parry at the door. It's 404. WAQ 904.
Peugeot.
So he said there has been, I said, Parry, what's happening? He said there has been a coup in Western Nigeria. I said there can't be a coup in Western Nigeria alone. He said that's what, but there were two bodies on the lawn. One was the other one was the generator man. They asked him to put off the generator and he refused and they shot him.
Wow.
The man who met us next was the Chief Justice Morgan. He went and got of the Premier. That's why he was removed. So that was this.
Okay.
When you see the retaliation was.
Yeah, I wanted to speak about Aguiyi Rossi, Adekunle Fajuyi, and the rest of them.
Aguiyi Rossi was not the one who planned the coup, as you know very well. But when he was killed, we had heard too. And my wife was working in UCH, and they stopped all traffic. I said, look, this is the last time we'll see this. They had been killed. And their body built a bank.
General T.Y. Danjuma.
It took 3 months before their bodies could be found.
Wow. This is serious history. So what was the truth about Fajuyi laying down his life?
I think this information, this information was so rampant. Do you know one thing? Iransi even broadcast. His broadcast went at first. Despite all the rumors, the conference of natural rulers will still go on at Ibadan. I have heard several rumors about my person, but please ignore it. Ignore them.
Was it true that OLUNLOYO was sitting on the moon? Before we forget that.
Oh no, it was not. I don't think I got to be a Kennedy. People saw they saw what they liked to see.
Because I looked well when I was very young, and I thought I was seeing OLUNLOYO and his cap on the moon.
It's very funny. Ogunde's, Ogunde had many songs at that time. It was funny.
That's about Professor Wole Soyinka, because you must have been contemporaries of sorts, maybe at Government College Ibadan, and then he went to University of Ibadan before he left for Leeds.
Yes, we were both in University of Ibadan, and we were both in Government College. His father was the principal, was the headmaster of St. Peter's now
in Abeokuta.
And his name was S.A. Soyinka. He was from Ishara. He made Wole write one essay every day. And that earned him his nickname.
Essay?
Baba Essay. One day on a sheet of my hometown, this what I love to eat most. One essay every day. Now he got into Government College 2 years before us. He was in the bright class of Awe Akinkugbe, an extremely bright person in that class, was from Ilesha. Oni, very usually first. Oni was the medical person. And within about 7 years of joining the medical services, he had become director of the medical services in Western State.
Wow.
What do you call him? Christopher Kolade was also, Obadia was in that class. Well, interesting things about Wole. We had a system in Government College where suggestion box, but we turned it into a criticism box. We criticized the teachers. They took 24 boys. They took 24 boys every year. A year was the first double stream, but normally 24 boys and 2 houses, 12 in one house, 12 in another house. 24 boys, 35 teachers, more teachers than students. So if you have any suggestion or any criticism, you write it, you pass it to Wole Soyinka, who will rewrite it in probably better English. And then there is a room which is dedicated to that purpose. And he would. So one day, one episode happened. There was an essay by Soyinka. He said several things. One of them is that some of the students are brighter than some of the teachers. That some of the
oh my God.
Examples were given in geography, in mathematics, in physics. There is no teacher who is as good as OLUNLOYO in mathematics. There is no teacher who is as good as Awe in physics. There's no teacher who's as good as go over there. Who then called an emergency meeting? He was a Scottish boy, Captain W.H.B. Brown. You know, he calls, they call, they speak English like Ibadan people. Sitting on cushion chair. You know? So, say, yes, I have bad news for you. You boys have of Cocoa
House.
with Bolage's Commissioner for Finance, Murakiyo.
Oh, Abiola Murakiyo.
At that corner of
Abiola
Ayeko.
Murakiyo. Benny.
At that corner.
At that corner of Ode Omu and Bogon.
Yeah,
Ode Omu.
you go through Ayeko.
Yes, you go through Ayekwe, yes. From OK Church. From OK Church Street. Yes.
And it's at that corner.
Mm.
Corner.
Yes, it's just right in the middle of the junction. Right in the middle. Yes. Very strategic.
Very strategic. And then you can continue journey
to Ede. To Ede. And Oshobo.
And Oshobo. the land which Osun State built their headquarters, the Bolage House, actually belongs to Ede. It doesn't belong to Oshobo. Ede ló ní ilẹ̀ yẹn. So
wow.
Gbogbo orú nǹkan báyẹn àwa tá a ṣe mọ díẹ̀ ń bẹ̀.
Yes, I wanted us to touch a few more business people. What was the true story of Shonibare? Of the Shonibare estate fame? Yes, sir.
Shonibare, Oko Lakweri, he was a workaholic. He lived only 44 years.
Wow.
1920 to 1964.
Wow.
He built all those houses that I mentioned. And he removed, you see, the piece of land which he used in Ibadan here, containing Cocoa House, was the Ministry of Works headquarters, which he moved to Ele, just beyond the police headquarters. And Sketch used part of it. So he was a man of tremendous energy. Shonibare in the morning is working, in the afternoon is working, in the evening is working. And I think he died of too much work. At the same time, he was building an estate.
In Maryland.
In Maryland. Grapevine has it that he was not the sole owner of that estate. I remember Oluwabodin lived in that estate once.
Oluwabodin. The Oluwabodin of Punch. Yes.
Yes, and Oluwabodin was also the what do you call it? Chief accountant of National Bank. Yes, he was the chief accountant of National Bank. And so there was
a dispute
in the Grapevine that it was jointly owned. You've heard that story before too.
Oh yes, that's why I asked about him, sir.
And they approached Lakweri, and Lakweri says no papers like that were left with him. Did they have any papers? She would allow any scrutiny of the house, any site of the house, and they never talked about anything like that to her. So I think the other party also built an estate somewhere not too far. You heard about that too?
Yes.
So we both know what we are talking about.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Then I wanted in those days.
He was the man I gave the census figures.
Okay. Wow.
He was the only.
Wow.
He was the one and single action group man who asked about the census. But the things about the census that is very peculiar. That census, Babangida is a very good friend of mine, and is a very great philanthropist. That's my son who went to Cambridge. We sent him to England for 6 years. He did.
Wow.
He gave the boy. He saw him once. He gave him what do you call this? University. Took a BS in Birmingham, Lambos University, then an MSc with electronics and electrical engineering with management, and masters, and then you went to work with some companies which provide spare parts, sales of Miletus. You remember sales of Miletus in Ezekiel Oluwasami's speech in Ife about the use of philosophy before Shodipo left for Agowoli.
Onabanjo, Adebisi Onabanjo.
Not Adebisi Onabanjo.
University.
Shodipo.
Yes, he went to Adebisi Onabanjo. Yes, I remember him in Ife. Yes.
Yes. So, Show Lakweri made very good use of the proceeds. She built Elephant House.
Oh, they built the Elephant House. Oh, wow.
She built Elephant House from the proceeds of. She built Elephant House. I think it's 28th story.
Wow. Nigeria was great. Yes, I wanted, finally on business, I wanted to ask if you knew much about the Ogbeni Oja, Adeola Odutola.
Yes, the Ogbeni Oja, Adeola Odutola. I knew a bit about him, but there were people who maligned him. They maligned him because of Awolowo. Awolowo approached him. You know, everything Awolowo had was auctioned before he could go to the Alaafin of Oyo. Had harshly treated, you know, field house in government college, HTC field. He in the army, he gave Awolowo a contract for Bodo and Ilubo to be supplied to the Royal West African Frontier Force. Awolowo went to the bank and borrowed money and got all the Bodo from Okeogun. He created a scarcity. There was no more Ilubo, and gave him no compensation. His property had to be sold, and the few things his father had was shared by his uncles, and his own personal effects. You will read from Awo's biography and rehashed by Jack. which is not a very good reaction. That things were being auctioned. So some people offer to, he comes into good money. But Awolowo said no. This he was all right watching all his personal being sold. So they say from loan. And Ogbeni Oja asked the natural question: how will he return the money? So he couldn't answer that any loan. But he came back to which Ogbeni Oja was a member as well. So they all had to bow down to him at the time.
The power of education. I said the power of education.
Yes. So on that day, what do you call him? Ogbeni Oja left politics. Rotimi left politics. Many of them left politics and said they will not. And now said what they were starting that day will have a long discussion. J.S. Olawoyin of Ofa said what they were doing was Josiah said what they were doing was, and is bound to have very great repercussions. Those were the only two people who spoke against. But Ogbeni Oja, there's another episode. Ogbeni Oja gave me a very fantastic luncheon, in which he called all his children. And he put my name on a plaque next to the girls' hostel, and where he buried his mother on one side, the girls to see. And he wrote me a very nice letter. Now, that's for Ogbeni Oja. Sunday, Odutola was my very good friend, and as well as Shubomi Balogun. He sacked his own son at the Tire Souls here. So we went to beg him, and he refused. He refused. But he gave us a concession. He said what he wants from the factory is profit, and he's not interested in just advancing his son or anything. He gave us the concession. Every profit that comes in, he will give him the amount he gives him at the present time. So he promised Sunday, and he kept his promise. He said he prefers another man's son to run it, make profit, and Sunday will get the profit. And then, you know what happened? He then went and sought a man. You know who the man is? The man was Ekperokun, the registrar, assistant registrar in the University of Ibadan. So he put Ekperokun as the manager of the Tire Souls. Ekperokun make bags of profit. He gave Sunday his share. He called us when he was giving Sunday his share. Sunday, say, boy, guys like him too much. So Ekwerokun ran the place very beautifully, and that was his style of business.
I thought there was another Jimo Odutola who was very big.
Who was Horatius' friend. When you are going from the bridge, you are going to the Ibadan Grammar School, you find a market where they sell hens, hawks, and 2 bridges. All that land, parcel of land on the right, was given to Jimo Odutola by Horatio, who was the boss of the Ibadan Native Authority. The local government under my father was a powerful one. He was treasurer of the council, and when you come to Ibadan, I will show you the job, what do you call it? This place where they keep their money, the chop thing in the wall is still there. The conveyance, the room where they keep their conveyance of council properties, still there. Is the room Adedobu did not touch. To give you an idea of how powerful the local government was, they had their own police called the Accorders.
I remember the Accorders.
They had a cap like the French cap. Then they were in charge of LA Waterworks. He was in charge of LA Waterworks.
Wow.
He was in charge of Adeoyo Hospital. Adeoyo Hospital, and he was in charge of Agodi Prison.
Wow. Were they the ones in control of Wole at the time?
Yes. The police, the police station was in fact near this, you know where Mario has his, Mario the scan man who does scanning for women, and so all those together with the prison. So it was a real local government.
Not like now. Daddy,
like now.
We've done about 2.5 hours. It's incredible. And we still have some distance to cover. I wanted you to speak about a myth linking Awolowo, Akintola, and Aderemi losing their children while they were very powerful at the time. What was the story?
The story is very sad. You know, today is 11th. Yesterday was unfortunately the 10th of July. Yesterday was the day Sheikh Awolowo died, the 10th of July.
Wow.
He was close to me. I chose him as a lawyer for a case where I was framed up. The case had not been determined. It was under Justice Abimbola, famously called Milord. Tall, light complexion, Ijebu Ode man, ladies man, Milord. On the 10th of July, 1963, the day Awolowo's eldest son died. Is the day also is the birthday of Akintola.
Wow.
So the first, it seems as if there was a compact with the three of them.
Aderemi,
Brother Aderemi was the first to die. He died at 39. He died at 39 only.
The first son of Oni Aderemi.
Or the first son of Oni Aderemi. He died at 39. And that was in 1962. Then the first son of Awolowo died on Akintola's birthday. Then the first daughter, the first child of Akintola also died. Each of the three of them lost their first child. But the more painful thing was that at Abanla, they were making a new road and they put drums to divide the road into two. And in such cases, they usually have a red flag man at one end, a red flag man at the other end. But it was a bend. It was a bend. The red flag man at one, they put down their flags simultaneously. Only one flag man ought to have put down his flag. And so there was a head-on collision. Now, there was another myth. Awolowo had some instruction from his one or both of his parents not to drive, and he wasn't driving. He wasn't driving. But Wale always drove himself. He never took a driver. I shared a flat with him in Abuja at the Confab and the TIC.
Wow.
And we shared words in the UCH too with each other. They were brought in there and then taken overseas. The second day that each other came from overseas, he died.
Wow.
He was writing Monday Think Tank, which everybody knew. Lekare, Laja Shuaga, and other people took Abiola to Ifene to get the old lady to persuade me not to write the Monday Think Tank again. But I was writing from my psychic feelings and the job Abiola had given me. Ladoja told me one could make money by going to collect the waste in Port Harcourt and using them to make candles. So I went to Abiola told me that. So I went to Ladoja later on to confirm. So on the day I went to Abiola, he said he had an assignment for me. He wanted me to write on contesting the election. I said I was already on my way to Ibadan. He then booked a presidential suite for me in one of these Hebrews. What do you call them?
Federal Palace Hotel.
No, Hebrew.
Sheraton.
A presidential suite. And I walked through the night. And I walked like a scientist. Across the age group, from 9 to 99. I worked with women, with men, with the educated, with the uneducated. And finally, I consulted Chief Ajasin. I consulted the Ifa at Oyo. And lastly, I consulted the Ifa at Ife. The Ifa at Ife said that Abiola ought to have started his campaign at Ife. But he ended the campaign at Ife.
That's about Kwadeshijo Ade Olubushe II.
Yes. He ended at, and in fact, he was late.
He came very late, very, very late in the night. Yes.
You remember the day?
Oh, I remember. I have the pictures. I remember.
You remember Lai Balogun was there?
Ben, sir.
Lai Balogun, tó jáde everywhere.
They went into the temple.
Yes. Ifá yẹn, temple yẹn sì sọ pé yóò wọlé ṣùgbọ́n wọn ò ní gbé fún. Balogun then said he had about 5 million which we could propitiate
the oracle.
Then I remember what Shijuazi said, that he also has money. He doesn't know whether he has more or less than Lai Balogun, but he also has money. But this thing doesn't take money.
The oracle does not take money.
Yes. That their own oracle there doesn't take money. So that's where we left it. Then I worked on this thing, I dreamt, Abiola then gave me to another assignment. The same day, I gave him the result that one immediately. He said, I said, even, I wrote it like a geometrical thing, even to do so, any comment, result as in geometry, you see, he will reason, conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
To sign. I wrote them in half a page. One third of a page. He said I should sign. I said I don't want to sign. So, and I accept my error and folly. He had given me money, large quantities of money before, without, so he will give me again foreign exchange.
Can we quickly go back, sir, to the Alaafin? Yes, sir.
You see, one thing is that the day I feared most was when I believed my dreams was we were going for swearing in. Every time we move near the swearing in place, the crowd congeals. We cannot move forward again. And then there was a hill before the Abuja airport that was always threatening to send us back. But one day, I saw a signboard in neon with mandate written on it. And after I had watched it, it broke into two.
Wow.
At about 2 a.m. It was easy to interpret. Man was Abiola. Date, June 12th. So I went quickly for my pen. Give us, that's the day I wrote, give us either Abiola or give us June 12th. And in the confab, that's what I said. Give us Abiola. And if you can give us Abiola, give us the date. And make it compulsory for them to appoint the Yoruba man. They got to Ikene. When they got to Ikene, the old woman had phoned me. So I, who were armed. When they got to my gate, they jumped my fence and came and opened my gate. I had no objection. The woman told me that any day I write about that subject, the sales go up. So she said that she doesn't understand some of the things I write there. So she appointed somebody to be the reader of my column. So I say I write what I see. This man has given me 20,000 pounds sterling at the airport before, 30,000 dollars at the airport. He has given me a massive
MKO.
Yes. I wrote a Volkswagen to his house because of odd and even numbers. And I have too many cars. My office in science and technology, I am forced with 38 cars and 8 drivers. Well, I had a covert operation to perform on that night, so I took my
You took your Volkswagen.
My Volkswagen, so that nobody will identify me. And he said, èèyàn ńlá ni yín o, kò sí nǹkan kan wájú ọkọ̀ tẹ wọ̀ yìí o ẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ wá o tó bá kọlu yàn wọn ò ní rí nǹkan kan ṣá o ò ní rí nǹkan kan ṣá o ní Mercedes ni mo ní mi ò ní Mercedes mo ní ọkọ̀ tó mo ní ọkọ̀ tèmi 4 mo sì tún ní ọkọ̀ ìjọba 38 síbẹ̀síbẹ̀ ó yẹ kẹ́ ní Mercedes jẹ́ kọ́ ọmọ kan wá gbá. Then he gave me 20,000 check. The Mercedes 200 was 15,900 then.
Wow. Brand new.
Brand new. HS Adedeji, formerly Prime Secretary. Mo ní dúdú ni mò ń fẹ́. Tí àwọn mínísítà ń gùn yẹn ni HS Adedeji ni wọ́n bá cancel mínísítà tí wọ́n bá gbé ìkà fún mi.
Wow.
Ní òru mo máa ń lọ ṣé mo da ṣọ́ọ̀bù màá wò bó bá ṣe wà ńbẹ̀. Nítorí I had no need for it.
Abiola scattered you completely.
Yes. Wọ́n á decide pé the best thing ni pé ẹnìkan Olúbọ̀dé ní kí n lọ fi ralẹ̀ lọ́nà Agége. Ẹnìkan ní Abiola lè lọ béèrè o pé ọkọ̀ náà ń kọ́ o ẹ má ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ o tó ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ fún.
Oh my God.
Àkànní àlùkò ó wá yẹ owó kan lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ pé àmọ̀ pé kò lè fẹ́ ra bísínẹ́sì ilẹ̀ lẹ́fẹ́
ọkọ̀ lẹ́fowó rà.
ó lóun fẹ́ wọlé ìjọ náà.
Oh my God. Wow.
So man and date. But
you were involved in the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò saga. It's a story I would want you to speak to, sir.
You mean
for Abiola? Aláàfin giving Abiola the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò title at that time. There was opposition. There was opposition to it. It was already Bashorun of Ibadan land, and then the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò was added onto it.
Àwa náà tá a jà fún nìbàdàn nìyí. A jà fún nìbàdàn. We fought on his behalf in Ibadan. He gave them presents. All the obas, all the chiefs took the presents.
In Ibadan?
Yes, and a certain Oba, who was my father's assistant, a certain chief who was my father's assistant, then decided to oppose his appointment. This gentleman, who became Olubana later, accepted the president, Ashoke, and so on. The only man who did not accept the president was SOWEMIMO. And SOWEMIMO made sure that he voted first, and he voted for Abiola and returned all the presidents.
Integrity.
He was a noble man. I spoke to him this morning, his son this morning, Femi. Man like Awolowo, making a man the treasurer of the party. Lalehin was the treasurer of the action group. When the woman trusts I non-Ijebu to be the treasurer. Know that
must be very good. Wow.
Very reliable man.
And the Femi later worked for MKO Abiola during our campaign.
And Femi got his seat in Lagos. He was a member of the House in Lagos. I say he was a member of the House. So, and now in Ibadan, he's in Ibadan politics, where his father was, you know, true. So the thing is, you know, the whole of this Ibadan, many people don't know. From Bakatari to, what do you call it? IITA. The whole of the land once belonged to the Egba Okeono.
Egba of Okeono.
Yes.
Where you have Obatejo show now.
Obatejo show. Tó jẹ́ ọmọbìnrin. Àwọn Adémọ́lá Aláké ọmọbìnrin làwọn náà. Tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ọmọ nìyẹn. So gbogbo alẹ́ àwọn Ẹ̀gbá kò ń bí ni. Àwọn ni wọ́n ní.
Kí náà ṣe fún yín dáàdì?
Àwọn ò ní tẹ̀ kankan. Pé akànlé wọn lọ akànkó àwọn riffraffs jọ. We formed the town around Bako and we drove these people.
Kí mọ yín lọ́wọ́.
Oh, the founder of Ibadan himself, Lagelu. Where I fixed Ajimabio when his father wanted to make a tailor. Lagelu Grammar School. Nobody denies that Lagelu is the founder of Ibadan. And that is from Ife.
Wow.
So, some people who are opposing, we attacked that man who became Olubadan. We attacked him very severely. And
who was the Olubadan at the time, sir? Was it Ashanike or who was the Olubadan at the time?
Ashanike was the man, the most popular.
Ashanike. Yes, Ashanike.
Ashanike was the most popular that we have had for the last 10 Olubadans.
It was very humorous. Very, very humorous.
Gómìnà tèmi nìyí kò sí ní tẹ́ ẹ lè ṣe sí OLUNLOYO ni gómìnà mi.
Wow. So there was opposition, or there was no opposition to Abiola eventually?
No, the opposition was smothered by us. I was for Abiola, Lamidi Adedibu was for Abiola. What do you call him? Gani Ajimabi was for Abiola. So he got it very easily.
But you had some incredible people in Ibadan. Busari Adelakun.
No. He never... you know he died in prison. He was poisoned.
They used to tell us that I used to carry a tortoise on his chest inside his agbada.
It's a lie. One day, when he joined, a lie. When he joined the MPN, and I still have that picture here. We were going on the campaign one day. The UPN, they were coming from Italy. We were going to Gomacho. When we got to that market, where they said small loaves of hot bread early in the morning, the UPN people were coming. We were going to Gomacho. And we were going to collide. We were in the same car. He said, Victor, I want Guinea one bone. kí la wá ṣe nísìn.
Ẹ̀rúbà.
Ẹ̀rúbà ìmọ̀ ní olóògùn ni a pàdé wọn ni. I had the bulletproof suit.
You were more practical.
Yes, I was more practical. A mini bulletproof. Tí mo rà ní London, mo ní bulletproof. So èyí tó wí pé kìíní èmi ti bọ́ sí abẹ́ bábọ̀ àyà mo ti lọ.
Ẹyẹ ti fò lọ.
Fọ ẹyẹ fò.
Ẹyẹ fò.
Ní wọ́n lẹ lóògùn ní bọ́lẹ́gùn.
Alábàáhùn kò. Oh my God, this is nice.
Àtò máa sáré tó báyìí. Ike ẹjọ́ lẹ rò pé sportsman ni mí ní school. Nígbà tí n rí ipò tí ó ń yìnbọn ẹ̀rù kúbà mi pọ̀. Ntí Awólọ́wọ̀ pè ní Shakespeare náà pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ní Shakespeare ní Hamlet níbi to be or not to. That's the question. Well, a journey from whose born no traveler returns. Passage yẹn.
Orí mi ò pé tó ti ń sábà.
Ní kíní bá sọ ẹni Awólọ́wọ̀ máa ń pè ní àrèmábọ̀.
Àjò àrèmábọ̀.
Àjò àrèmábọ̀.
Journey of no return.
So èmi ti àwọn náà fẹ́ jẹ̀gbọ́n àjọ nǹkan wa. So
influence in Ibadan politics.
Wide margin. By wide margin, Adedibu was more methodical, and he had a sense of humor. Adilakun really had no power or anything.
It was just the myth that he had juju.
No, Adilakun bragged a lot. He had no power on the ground.
Chief MKO Abiola was so fond of Adedibu, Baba Adedibu. Why? What do you think was the bond between the two of them?
No, Adedibu was a pragmatic politician. Was a pragmatic politician.
I hope your battery is well charged, Daddy.
Yes. This is well charged.
Is this well charged? The battery?
Yes, it's charging.
It's charging. Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
We lost your video now. We lost the video.
Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but the video is gone, sir.
Is it?
The video is gone. It's totally black. Okay, yes. You are back. Yes, you are back now. Yes, sir. You are back.
Yes, good.
Yes, we were talking about Adedibu and Abiola.
No, anybody would like to associate with Adedibu. Adedibu was a politician. You know, he wrote a book. The last book he wrote. The last book he wrote was very interesting. It was like a thesis. He said, in the book is what I saw of Adelabu. And the book is only about 20 pages. He said Adelabu left a painted house. Adelabu who left an uncompleted house and 40 pounds. He said, were it not for him, they would never have entered politics. It can be rightly said that he was the inventor. Adelabu was the inventor of grassroots politics. That was his conclusion in the preface. So he had a clear understanding of Adelabu's methods.
And he improved on it.
Yes. For example, if he had found somebody who's who was his boss, and they come to if an Awolowo person, for example, and he was an Awolowo man for some time, then he left, then he came back, comes to report a business deal that this Awolowo person has cheated him, he will refund the money to the man and then call the Awolowos. I say, Mamboko Oga mi jẹ́ o, Mamboko Oga mi jẹ́ o. Nítorí ṣe lóde o, ó ṣe wọ́n ni o. Ó ṣe wọ́n ni o.
Wow. Now, back to Alaafin, sir, because I know that you and Alaafin...
Don't go to Alaafin. He used to call himself Alaafin Malete.
Alaafin. That's why I wanted the story from the horse's mouth.
One day, I questioned why he's calling himself Alaafin Malete, whilst my father was the first to build a residential house. Yeah. Why he is calling himself Alaafin Malete? 4 of his cows went into my compound, beginning to eat my flowers. So I confiscated the 4 cows.
That's Babade Dibu now.
Yes.
I know you were neighbors. Yeah.
No, but we got there 38 years before him.
You got there 38 years before him?
Yes.
And it became a dawn.
Yes. And I installed the Alaafin. Why? What right has it to say is Alaafin Malete? First of all, his 4 house assist for spoiling my garden. No, he said he will release 1. I said 1 is not enough. And then you must pay Shakole. So he sent 250,000 naira to me as Shakole.
As the landlord.
Yes, as the landlord of the place. And I content with being owner of Malete. So he gave me owner of Malete. I said, I reluctantly take it.
So he's the Alaafin, you are the owner of Malete?
Yes,
the spiritual father.
250,000 and 1 cow.
And 1 cow. Well, it's a fair deal. It's a fair deal.
It's not a bad deal.
Plus the only title.
So he's a man with a sense of humor.
Wow.
They went and broke down Awolowo's image. You must have heard of it in front of Government House.
In front of it, yes, sir. At Agodi.
He had a hand in it. He had a hand in it. So Awolowo's children came and complained that he had a hand in it. So he caused the people. We kò ní dáa fún àwọn tó lọ wó èrè bàbá àwọn. Wọ́n ní àwọn làwọn wó ọ̀gá àwọn ló sì rán àwọn iṣẹ́. Kò ní dáa fún tó rán kò ní dáa láwùjọ tó rán àwọn iṣẹ́ káwọn wó
Wow.
ó dá iléèwé lẹ̀, àwọn ò lọ iléèwé, àwọn ń ṣe tọ́ọ̀gù. Wọ́n á ní káwọn lọ owó nǹkan, wá láwọn làwọn owó. Wọ́n ní physically, wọ́n ní is responsible for the destruction of the structure. So the man who brass.
Amala politics.
Amala politics.
Wow.
So you are going to Alaafin for you?
Yes, now I want us to go to Alaafin for you. The history is, if you need some drink, Daddy, I don't know if you still drink red wine. I think it would be nice if you have a bottle handy. I don't know if you still do that. We used to do it together, Daddy.
Yes, but I don't want to drink this morning. Wines are very good. Especially the ones from Chile. They found that the ones from Chile are very good for the heart.
Chilean wines. Okay, I'm learning that today.
Then the red wines from California. If you want to send me any red wine, send Chateauneuf du Pape from Chile, any Chilean red, then Napa Valley, the red from Napa Valley. They are very good.
Wow. Okay, I'm trying to look at what I have. Don't worry, we will get it, sir.
When you tell me the names, I will tell you what I choose.
Okay, sir. No problem. I'll send you a list.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so our Alaafin saga. But I think you need a drink. I've been drinking very hot water here, so I think you need a drink.
No, I don't need a drink.
Yeah, okay, because we've done over 3 hours now. I think you are going to break my world record today. My world record is 3.5 hours.
Yes. Yeah. Who has a glass there? UCB. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine, sir. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I don't want us to lose it again. Oh, we've lost it. We've lost it. We've lost it. Okay, that's fine, sir. Yes, that's fine. Yes, the Alaafin saga. The Alaafin before the Alaafin, if we can take it from there. There was a lot of politics. I'm not hearing you again, Daddy. Can you hear me, sir?
No, because I was not talking. Yes?
Yes.
What you said was that the Alaafin saga. The Alaafin before the Alaafin.
Before the Alaafin.
Yes.
What was the problem?
I will not describe it as the Alaafin before the Alaafin. It's more complex than that. The Alaafin who was on the throne was Adeyemi II. He was deposed because of the Lloyd Commission and also because of the death of Bodito that was tenuously linked with it. So when that happened,
what was the problem, sir? Sorry, sir, between Alaafin II and Bode Thomas, because we had all kinds of superstitious tales.
There's authoritative material on that. There are two books one should get. One by Majekodunmi, who was Bode Thomas' doctor. And the other one is by H.O. Davis, who was
H.O. Davis.
stalwart. These two books contain 99% of what you want. I would supply the remaining 1%. The local government system began by making the natural ruler of every area the chairman of the local government. Then they came to electoral local government, where they would choose councillors as well as mayor. Mayor, they began mayor in Lagos, mayor of Lagos, then mayor of Enugu. The mayor of Enugu was an Hausa man, Umaru Altine. The mayor of Lagos was Olunloyo. After some time, they changed the head of the local government to an elected one. The mayor of Ibadan, Adilabu, with his 44 seats out of 46, and Action Group 2. Now, what happened was, when the natural, it's a very simple thing, when the natural rulers were chairmen, when the councillors come in, when the natural ruler comes in last, that is the chairman, they all stand up. All the councillors stand up.